Good morning, guys. Mr. Joshua with another video. Happy Monday. It's the day after It's the day after Easter. Looks like it rained over the night. It's about 3:30 in the morning. Fun stuff. So I want to do a part 6 on my Batman versus Terminator. So here we go. Yesterday, I think I left off on a pretty big part of the comic book. You know, there are Terminators that found out where Batman's Batcave was. They found out that the infiltrator who infiltrated the Batcave, it found out that the Batcave has like a hidden entrance, which is behind a waterfall. So essentially, long story short on that, it just, got into the headquarters, was able to open up all access basically so all these Terminators could come in and cause havoc. They blow the place. Batman also had a bunch of bombs and EMPs surrounding the I can't think. Sorry, I can't really think while listening to music. Sometimes it's pretty hard for me. So anyways, Batman has all of these, pre-staged bombs and EMPs around the ruins of Gotham. And Batman was able to rescue a majority of his Batman's army and supplies and whatnot. They took everything that they could. They brought up onto this ship to escape Gotham. And with Batman is he likes to think ahead of himself. He likes to pre-plan things, such as having a ship ready. So, with that being said, we left off on the ship leaving Gotham, and Batman watching the ruins of Gotham just be completely obliterated by EMPs and explosives. And the reason why he did that is because he lured the last remaining kill line of the Terminators that were in that area, and he just destroyed them all with those explosions and EMPs. So we're going to fast forward to a week later. Batman is on this ship and they're going to San Francisco. Sounds pretty gay, I know, but hear me out. The reason why they're going to San Francisco, it's because that's where the broadcasting was coming from, the San Francisco area, from John Connor. And the reason why I chose San Francisco was because, if I remember correctly, that's where John Connor's resistance is. Pretty sure it's where it's at. It's either that or LA. Either way, this is just a rough draft. I can easily change that within a matter of seconds, but it doesn't matter. So a week later, Batman and everyone else are on this ship. They're going to San Francisco, maybe LA, who knows. We're gonna call it San Francisco for now. And nothing much really happens, surprisingly. They just go on a long ass trip, and I'm not too familiar with how long it takes ships to come from point A to point B, so maybe I'll just put as 2 weeks later they make it to San Francisco. And so here they are on the outskirts of San Francisco in the Bay. Everybody's all paranoid. They don't want to land the ship at the docks because of Terminators and God knows what else. And so Batman has some leftover drones that he sends out to the harbor and stuff to basically do surveillance and make sure there's no Terminators around. And sure enough, there's no Terminators around. Everything is completely deserted. And you would think that Skynet would be able to pick up a huge ship like that, just coming into harbor. But again, Batman has gadgets and shit that he uses to use as camouflage, and he also has like little camouflage devices on the ship that make it almost impossible for Skynet to pick up on its radar. So he sends the drones out there and such. Everything's good, and they wait for about a day or so with constant, surveillance. And they eventually send out a group of Batman's army out there to, go patrol. Everything's good. They finally go out there and dock the ship, and they start, looking around and such. They start looking for signs of life and, things like that. And everything's good. Everything's good for the most part. So, this is where I struggle. This is basically where I stopped with my Batman versus Terminator, because I had a bunch of negative life-changing events that deterred me away from this book. Not saying that these events were not as important as my book. They're actually way more important. But yeah, with this story, from right now, everything comes from imagination, because I haven't written anything else down. I know how the story ends. I know how Batman meets John Connor. But at this point for part 6, this is about as far as I went. I don't really know anything else. I don't know. Let's say that maybe Batman is back on the their ship headquarters, and he picks up another broadcasting from John Connor. And since he's closer to John Connor now, because he's clear across on the other side of the country, and let's say that he has a better way of tracking him down now since it's closer. And so he finds out where the human resistance is. And so what he wants to do is he wants to meet this person, because he has hope. He has hope that this John Connor is going to be able to help him defeat Skynet, to help essentially help defeat this robot AI monster thing that Bruce Wayne essentially helped by financially investing into to bring to life. And Batman still holds this guilt, and he still blames himself for essentially creating Skynet because he invested money into it. He invested money into Skynet because he was getting older, and he thought maybe this would be the next best thing for Gotham City, and all crime for that matter. And he was solely wrong. So, let's say that they start unloading some of the Batmobiles and such, and I don't know, maybe they find a definite location for where the headquarters are, and everyone's a little paranoid about going there because they don't know if it's a trap or things like that. And who knows, maybe they go off and they drive to that location. They drive through the ruins of San Francisco and just all the little towns and stuff surrounding San Francisco. And eventually they do encounter some Terminators. They wipe them out easily. Maybe I should put a scene in there where some of the Batman's army gets lured by Terminator, because I know that in the storyline sometimes the infiltrator units still sit there and do things like pretend they need help and put themselves into false situations where they lure humans in, and when it's too late they just kill them. So maybe I'm tired. So maybe they do something like that, And then long story short, I'll make all this shit up as I get back to the story, but long story short, let's say that they're in this big giant battle, this big giant battle, and Batman is hiding in this huge ass trench, trying to hide himself from these Terminators, and he's badly hurt, injured, And here comes the Terminator that jumps into the trench and starts walking towards them. The Terminator's missing an arm, has no gun, but has the other hand to kill John Connor, to kill Batman with. And so what ends up happening is right before the Terminator is able to reach Batman and kill him, what ends up happening is that the Terminator gets completely blasted by a plasma rifle. Batman looks up, he sees a shadow staring down at him from on top of the trench, and then this shadow reaches down with his hand, reaching for a Batman, and Batman takes it, and he helps Batman out of the trench. And Batman, stumbles to his feet, looks over, and sees a name tag on the person's vest. It says Jay Connor on it. And then Batman looks up at him and says, "So you're John Connor." And that's where that comic book will end for that part. But yeah, again, this is probably going to be the final video that I make for my Batman versus Terminator until I get back into it. It's going to be a while until I get back into it, and I have to deal with a bunch of family things, a divorce and such. Pretty traumatic on my end. Very traumatic. But that's all that I have for this morning. If you guys like my videos, please like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. I'm out.